Hello, and welcome back to the reading of Old Dirty Bastard, the Dirty Version. Chapter 1. Rusty. His mama called him Rusty. He was known to the world by many names. Unica San, Osiris, Dirt McGirt, Big Baby Jesus. All these names became part of his legend. Did you hear what that old dirty bastard is calling himself now? But when I met him, we were kids, and he was Russell Jones. His mama, Miss Cherry Jones, would holler, "Rusty, get in the house. Rusty, come here for a minute." And that's what she called him. And when she talked to me on the phone that sad night, "He's smiling, Buddha." Rusty's laying there smiling. It was November 13th, 2004. Old Dirty Bastard, my friend, was dead. Dirty died 2 days shy of his 36th birthday. He'd served a 2-year sentence for drug possession and signed a new deal with Rockefeller Records the day he came out of prison. Co-founders Jay-Z and Damon Dash had built Rockefeller into one of the most powerful labels in hip-hop. They signed Beanie Siegel. They signed Kanye, but people thought they were crazy for signing Dirty. Dirty was a hip-hop legend, no question. But there were doubts about his future in the music business. He was crazy, people said, unpredictable. He was far too gone on drugs. Dirty had spent 2 of the last 3 years of his life in prison. Before that, it was a year or more in and out of rehab. At one point in 2000, he escaped from a rehab facility in California and showed up on stage at a Wu-Tang concert in Manhattan. Dirty made a surprise appearance at the Hammerstein Ballroom. He came on stage for Shame on a Nigga from Wu-Tang's first album, did a couple more songs with his crew, and told the crowd, "I can't stay on stage too long tonight. The cops are after me. The whole effing world is after me." And just like that, he disappeared. Make it off stage, through the venue, past the cop out front, he was gone. 6 days later, he was arrested in Philly in the McDonald's parking lot. They sent him for a psychiatric evaluation. Then they put him on suicide watch for a while. He waited for sentencing. Then it was Clinton Correctional Facility, 2 to 4 years for criminal possession of a controlled substance. They put him in with general population. Every day he was there were niggas threatening to kill him. They broke his leg. They said they were going to set him on fire in his bunk. He was in there almost 2 years before he was granted parole. And after that, he spent 3 months in Manhattan Psychiatric Center before they released him back into society to work on his comeback album. A little over a year later, he was gone. In the 10 years since Dirty died, I've been touring the world with my own music, and I still see the impact that he had around the globe. I've seen Old Dirty Bastard murals painted on walls in Romania, Australia, and Russia. I had a dude I met in Italy tell me, "I learn English listening to you and dirty rap. Our English is broke as F on those records," I told him. "How the F could you learn English from us?" I toured the world performing on stage with Dirty. I was there for his early shows with Wu-Tang Clan before they had a record deal, and I was on stage performing with him at the final show he ever did with Wu-Tang a few months before his death. Search YouTube for Dirty's drunk freestyle on your MTV Raps, or his Rockefeller press conference the day he came out of prison. You see the big dude standing right next to him? That's me. That's Buddha Monk. Most of the major events in his life that people remember, I was there. You've heard the stories. Dirty once picked up food stamps in a limousine. Dirty lifted a burning car off a 4-year-old girl in Brooklyn. Dirty was kicked out of a rehab for getting drunk. Dirty stole a $50 pair of sneakers while on tour, and he had $500 in his pocket. It seems like everybody's telling a story instead of telling the true story. Dirty was a loving brother, a caring friend, and a very supportive father to his children. Even on his bad days, no matter how bad he was, tomorrow would come, and it was hard to stay mad at him, because that's just the way he was. And it wasn't a character. It was him. Dirty was born in Brooklyn in 1968, the year Martin Luther King Jr. was killed and Shirley Chisholm became the first black woman elected to the United States Congress. During Dirty's early years, his family moved around Brooklyn from one neighborhood to another, from Fort Greene to East New York to the border of Bedford-Stuyvesant and Crown Heights, where I lived. When I first met Dirty, I was 11 and he was 12. It was 1980, and Dirty and I were witnessing the rise of a new form of music called hip-hop. We were living at the edge of do or die Bedford-Stuy, New York's largest ghetto, and the setting of Spike Lee's 1989 film Do the Right Thing, which would soon show the world the racial tensions at play here. We cheered when Radio Raheem walked through that movie with his boombox on his shoulder playing Public Enemy's Fight the Power, and we were heartbroken at the end when two white cops take him out. That scene really captured the fear a lot of us had because of racial profiling and excessive force on the part of the police. In the movie, the crowd sees what happens to Radio Raheem and they start chanting, Howard Beach, Howard Beach, which was the name of a Queens neighborhood we all recognized. In 1986, Michael Griffith, a 23-year-old black dude from Bed-Stuy, was struck and killed by a car after he was chased onto the highway by a group of white thugs screaming, "Niggas, get the F out of our neighborhood." Howard Beach was over 80% white, and Bed-Stuy was 80% black. A lot of rappers grew up in Bed-Stuy. Mos Def, Fabulous, Lil' Kim, and Jay-Z came from here. The Notorious B.I.G. came from Clinton Hill, just a few blocks away. Dirty and I both lived near the intersection of Putnam and Franklin Avenues. On our blocks, hip-hop was the shit. Hip-hop and house music. That was what you heard in our neighborhood. The people who had lived on my block loved music. The people on Dirty's block loved hip-hop, and we all loved our parents' music. The Shy Lights, the Temptations, the Four Tops, the OJs. Fridays and Saturdays on my block were listening parties. My man Junior Austin owned a club, and he would leave the doors open at night while everybody was shooting pool, so we could hear the music coming from inside. I would be upstairs at my place spinning records. My older brother was a DJ, so I learned to DJ by messing with his equipment when he wasn't home. He told me never to touch his records, so I used to have to put everything back just like I found it so he wouldn't catch me and beat my ass. Around the corner, Dirty and his family would be out on the corner, and his uncles would be showing Dirty how to dance. Everybody would just be singing and having a good time, all the aunts and uncles and cousins. I could hear them out there having fun. So one night, when I was 13, I finally had to go around the corner and hang with them. I just sat and listened. Dirty was sitting on top of a stoop with his mom and his sisters. Dirty loved to listen to his mother sing. That night, he was sitting next to her on the stoop and said, "Mama, sing for us." The whole street got quiet. I got chills. Dirty's mother, Miss Cherry, can sing like no one else in the world. She sang Gladys Knight, Patti LaBelle. Dirty wanted to hear, when am I gonna find true love? The uncles were dancing and grilling food, drinking a few beers, laughing, and just enjoying themselves. Uncle Pete put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Look, boy, this is what real music is. This is what life is about." This is what family was really about. Dirty's parents worked hard to provide for their kids. Miss Cherry was a dispatcher for the New York Police Department. Dirty's father, William Jones, worked for the Metropolitan Transit Authority. Even though we weren't growing up in the safest of Brooklyn, you could say that Dirty's family had a fairly typical American childhood. Okay, I'm going to end it there for now. This is the middle of chapter 1, and we're going to conclude in our next reading. Let's just go over some stuff that we found out in this chapter. Once again, we covered the fact that he was in psychiatric ward, and he was running from the psychiatric ward to the concert to get the concert done and to come back. He just was like really, really pushing himself and going through a lot of stuff. So we're going to continue the reading. Maybe in a few days or so. I'm going to try to get through this book as soon as possible. But I want to thank everyone who has been listening. And I would appreciate it if you like, subscribe, comment, and share. That would really help me out a lot. But once again, we're going to continue in a couple of days with Old Dirty Bastard, the Dirty Version by Buddha Monk and Mike Hess. Thanks for listening.